Hello everyone, I'm Mithra. Welcome to a very special video, a very different type of video. I've wanted to make this video for quite a while. This is a video that I would highly recommend you watch, more so than other videos, right? Why would I do that? Because this video is going to, attempt to explain bias, right? I like to give context to everything I say, and I make longer videos, right? So you don't always want to watch entire super long videos where somebody gives their opinion and you don't even know if their opinion matches up 100% with yours. And that's correct all the time, right? You'll never know. And when you watch a review on YouTube, you just watch, oh, this guy makes a lot of reviews, or this guy reviews a lot of these types of games. He must like all of those things because he's doing those reviews, right? Generally, probably correct. However, like I said, I want to provide context. More context than normal. This is going to be a special type of video, an experiment. I don't know if it would work because I don't see a lot of people really doing stuff like this. I think it would work. The goal is... So I've reviewed other things on this channel before. I've reviewed white boxes for Kingdom Death. Mostly my channel is devoted to Kingdom Death. There are other things I really do want to try to branch out and do. If I can get the time to. Kingdom Death takes a long time to record, long time to do. I love to stay active in the community as well. I love taking comments for videos, or from all my videos and putting them in the next video. I love responding to all the comments. I want to build, like a community around Kingdom Death and things, and help anybody who would ask for help, or just make things as generally entertainable and try to get people involved as much as I can. And that takes a lot of effort, right? That means I can't pre-record things. This video I could pre-record, right? But, so with reviews, I've done a review of the Gorm, I've done reviews of white boxes, I haven't done a review of Kingdom Death, but I would like to do a review of Kingdom Death, and it will probably be a really long 2-hour video. But if I could save myself time, or save you time, which is what I really want to try to do with this video, if I could just clear up bias, or just, explain away, or when you would understand, oh, well, he clearly likes this very specific type of thing, obviously he's going to like that, of this type of game, right? Or he dislikes that mechanic, obviously he's going to dislike that type of game. And that's true. Bias is hard to avoid when you review something, and it makes it a lot harder when you just do one-off videos. So the intent of this video is to just help you try to align yourself better and make you understand. So if I recommend something, if you watch this video, you would know my bias towards things. And then maybe you'd be like, well, obviously that guy's recommendation is a little bit off because sure, he likes Kingdom Death, but look at what else he likes, right? It's that type of thing. A lot of people do this with top 100 videos or top 10 videos or all that stuff. I don't know. I could do that. I think those are very subjective to time, fluctuation, all those things. But, however, if I can try to do it like this, maybe these games that are all on these shelves here, maybe they've been specifically put on these shelves for certain reasons. Maybe they're organized by mechanic. Maybe they're organized by, perhaps, one of these shelves here I like a lot more than all the other 5 or 6 shelves. There's also that one right there, right? There's a big game right there. See that game right there? Star Trek, The Next Generation, interactive VCR board game, a Klingon challenge. That's right. Game's amazing up there, that white game. How do you know? That could be it. That could be my favorite game ever. I could like that game more than Kingdom Death. You don't know if I like Star Trek and Next Generation, interactive VCR board game, a Klingon challenge. You don't know if I like that 12-word title. Of course, why would you not have 12 words in your title for your game? Right? You don't know. That could be my favorite game ever. However, all these other games here, Caverna, Viticulture, La Havre, Puerto Rico, Quacks. I played Quacks on the channel. Wingspan, Seven Wonders, Legendary, Townsfolk Tussle, alright? Zombicide, Arcadia Quest, Scythe, Blood Rage, Root. You don't know. Those are all pretty popular games. Gloomhaven, super popular games. What if I dislike one that's super popular? Does that invalidate all of my opinions? It could for you. That's why I really wanted to do something like this, right? It's a different type of thing. Maybe your favorite game is Gloomhaven, and I'll say, well, I don't really like Gloomhaven. And then you're like, well, screw this guy. It could happen. You never know, right? So that's why I really wanted to make this video and really just help you clear up things so you know when I give an opinion on something, or if I give an opinion on mechanics that I don't really enjoy, you'll understand why it is I don't enjoy them. The best way I could think of doing that would just be to be telling you what type of games I do enjoy. Not necessarily mechanics, these board games. If you can pick out which one of these shelves, of all these 5, or Gloomhaven, without, I mean, Kingdom of Death's obviously not included, or, I mean, right here, maybe you can see it, Twilight Imperium's right there too, 3rd edition, I didn't get 4th edition, but Kingdom of Death's not included. Kingdom of Death's a great game. I love Kingdom of Death. It's obviously one of my favorite games. But perhaps, if you were to try to think which one right now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, of all these, you're like, well, I think he probably likes this one. Why not? It's got Townsfolk Tussle. He loves Townsfolk Tussle. Maybe you're right. At the end, I'll talk about which one of these shelves I prefer over, like, all the other ones. Maybe, if you were to guess right now, maybe after listening and me just talking about things I enjoy and me giving a reason why, maybe you're correct. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just a different type of video. So, first and foremost, I've always been open about things I like playing, right? I've always talked about how the original Hero Quest, one of my favorite games of all time. This is my original copy from when, like, in the 90s, from when I used to play it as a kid, right? Late 90s, I played that all the time. It's a great, great game. I still love it. It was one of the first board games I probably, well, you know, obviously you play Monopoly, Sorry, and all those other type of board games, but I played that game all the time. And then, you know, you go to the next big one, Warhammer Quest. I played that after playing Hero Quest. Then, you know, those games are great. I love the dungeon crawl. I love the aspect of you being able to play solo. Hero Quest, you never really could play solo, but I always had people to play with, and I always enjoyed playing it with people, whether I was a DM or, well, you know, whether I was, I forget what his name even is now, which is, what is his name? I don't remember what the wizard's name is. Or you just play as a player and you pick your character. It was great. Fun times. I love Hero Quest. Still do. I have the newer Hero Quest. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. But, so those are types of games, obviously. You know, miniatures, stuff like that. Maybe miniatures are all that matters to me, right? Maybe if it's just got tons of miniatures, that's all that matters. Maybe that's a huge bonus in, like, my score rating. But there's plenty of other games. Maybe the aspect that I loved about Warhammer Quest or Hero Quest was more of the D&D side. I do play tons and tons of D&D. Well, this is a D&D, 2nd edition. This is a Dungeon Master's Guide. I was kind of looking for a player's handbook. Well, okay, this is also a D&D. This is the Monster Manual, 2nd edition. I was hoping for a more updated one. Hold on, let me look. Well, okay, this is 4th edition D&D, which it is still a monster manual, but, you know, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I mean, it is updated compared to a D&D, but I know. Let me go hunt for the other one. Well, wait. I guess Hunter here. This is old. This is old World of Darkness. This isn't new World of Darkness, but Hunter still. I like those tabletop games. I still would rather have something newer. Well, okay. So this is not newer. This was old. This old World of Dark. This is older. This is 3.5. This is the old book. This isn't even the reprint of the new 3.5 books. Again, I would like something updated. Hold on here. Wait. Okay. Well, this is updated 3.5, but it's not D&D. It's Pathfinder, but it's still updated D&D. I just want something newer. Okay, well, this is new World of Darkness. That is the newest version, but I was hoping for the newest version. Ah, yes. Newest version of D&D. I love tabletop role-playing games. There's many versions of which I've played. I enjoy a lot of them. Tabletop role-playing is super fun. I like the aspect of DMing. I like the aspect of playing. I like just telling stories or playing within someone's story. I like the freedom. I like open sandbox. I like the plethora of choices. Even if it's a bad choice, you can still do what it is you wanted to do and still have fun. That's one of the great things that I enjoy about, like Old Hero Quest, Warhammer Quest. There's optimal ways, right? There's always an optimal way to play. Just like in Kingdom Death, there's an optimal way to play. But maybe I wanted to go daggers instead of something, right? It's not, you might lose, but at least it's fun because I have the option to do so in a sandbox game. Choices are great, and even if you're making a bad choice, there's still games that are very fun, even if you're making a bad choice, and you might be able to win with it. Who knows? Depends. But that's one of the things that I really do enjoy about tabletop RPGs, right? There's the ebb and flow of a game, who's DMing, all those things are all going to play into it, right? And you can have fun even when terrible things happen, right? You could just roll nat 1, nat 1, nat 1, back to back and back, while someone else across the table is playing a Munchkin-like character. Munchkin. A min-maxing character. They're rolling nat 20s all the time. They're doing everything. They're spotlighting. The DM's letting it happen. Still, it's enjoyable for you sometimes, to a degree. It depends on the DM and all that stuff, but most of the time, those are types of things that I would enjoy, right? Even the mechanics of not needing to always play optimally or play is the best you can. It's not always a me versus you. Sometimes it's just you're playing to have fun by yourself in a tabletop RPG, right? And then hopefully the DM does a good job facilitating. Or when I DM, sometimes maybe I don't even roll the dice. I just roll them and it doesn't matter what I roll, right? Maybe everyone's having fun fighting a monster and they're really beating up on it, but they're having a huge amount of fun and they just want to keep fighting, but the monster's already dead. Maybe it's not dead. Right? It's those types of things where gameplay mechanics don't really always stand in the way of having fun. Now there's tons and tons of video games are the same way, right? Obviously I play tons of video games. I know I've played Final Fantasy XI. Final Fantasy XI, I played huge amounts of Final Fantasy XI, and I've even done. I don't want to go back to playing Final Fantasy XI in an MMO style. I don't think I'd ever really want to go back to playing MMOs again, just because they're huge time sinks. When there's just a lot of, you could play like free to play games and stuff, or phone games give you a lot of the same thing you'd get out of MMO, right? Just hunting for new items, hunting for the best new thing. A lot of phone games, they update weekly and stuff, and that you can get your fix just from doing that. So I don't need to look for an MMO to get that fix anymore, right? But with Final Fantasy XI, I'd still want to play that by myself, and I know I've done that on the channel. I'm having trouble maintaining private server playing by myself now. I'm trying to get it going again, but most importantly for that is it's just another way to play a sandbox game, right? You just go in and you do what you want, and you just have fun. There's no time commitment. You just log in, log out, because it's your own private server, and then you just do what it is you want to do. Now the other games like that wasn't, or not exactly like MMOs, but like Diablo 2. I've always said I really love Diablo 2. Or Borderlands. A lot of those loot hunting games. Those are always fun too, where you just go do something and you hope you improve your character, even by a marginal 1% or even less, to make your character better. But it's just, I really enjoy the hunting for something. Like in Diablo 2, what do they call them, like a Holy Grail run or whatever, right? Where you try to collect every single unique in every rune word, right? Those are things that I enjoy doing in my own time, right? You log in, you just look for these items, you mark them off your checklist, stuff like that. So it's all of these aspects that really make Kingdom Death, to me, really one of my favorite games ever, because Kingdom Death is a huge sandbox, and Kingdom Death facilitates a story, but it doesn't get in the way. The mechanics can be iffy, but it doesn't matter, because you can always go and change them or fix them to the way you want them to be. Or now again, because of the way I play on the channel, I try to as much by the rules as possible, but it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy homebrew, or it doesn't mean I don't discourage people, even in my Gorm review, I said, if you don't like Gorm Climate, just don't use it. Don't let one mechanic get in your way of having a good time. And that's why a lot of tabletop RPGs and stuff like that, sandbox games, like, what else? What other games? I played like a lot of SimCity and stuff when I was growing up, or Final Fantasy Tactics. A lot of tactical RPG games, right? Miniature games. I played Warhammer as well. I played a lot of card games. Drafting is always fun. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering, so card games are always fun. Magic, I loved Magic. And the only reason why I stopped playing, I played Magic back in the 90s. I don't think I played it into the 2000s at all. I think I stopped playing probably like 98 or something like that, but mostly because my deck was stolen and I was not going to pay to replace it. It was a very good deck. But that's what happened. So, but I loved Magic. That was just deflated. Otherwise, I probably would still play Magic. I keep up with it from time to time, but, you know, it's once... Things like that, I don't really want to take huge time investments. So if something's a huge time investment, I'd rather just do it once and not have to keep reoccurring costs, which is probably another reason why I'll never get back into MMOs. Because although I do love MMOs, and I love those types of games, where you just get open sandbox and there's so much you can do, you can log in and you just have millions of options, and you can do whatever it is that you want. And gameplay is going to be tight and stuff in an MMO, right? Because numbers matter. I mean, I played World of Warcraft at the very beginning when it first launched, and numbers mattered then. I don't know how much numbers matter now, but or maybe in new MMOs, I don't know. It seems like from the new MMOs I've seen or tried, you just do millions and millions of damage, so I don't know how much numbers actually matter. But back early 2000s, numbers used to matter. Like having 5 of something was way better than having 4. You could do the math in your head. So stuff like that, where you can actively see, right? I love trick-taking games. Trick-taking games where you can do the math in your head, like, well, poker's not a trick-taking game, but when you need to know and count, right? Like, I love, what is it, euchre? Well, euchre's one name for it. I think it's actually 500, or whatever the name for it is. It's bridge, the bridge variants, where counting cards and knowing and playing with a partner and doing stuff like that, where you need to know your percentages, right? And what you risk by playing this card. And you're like, well, if I play this, I'll bleed out Trump, but I'm pretty sure I can cover it, right? Where it's you press your luck on that and you hedge your bets. Those are always things I find very entertaining. So games that have all these elements involved. Now, the problem with games and board games and everything, everything's always ever changing, right? So just because I like King of Death and King of Death came out a long time ago, doesn't mean Townsfolk Tussle is better, but I do really love Townsfolk Tussle. And the boss battler system's only going to evolve, and that doesn't mean that old games get worse, right? And as you can tell here, just from me talking, I still love very old games, but it doesn't mean I don't dislike new games. So, like, here, so Zombicide, 2nd edition, this is the 2nd edition. Doesn't mean I don't dislike the 1st edition. It doesn't mean I don't dislike, what's the other one over there? Black Plague, right? They all still have their own unique mechanics to them. They're all still valid. So I always try not to think of something as replacements, right? That's another thing. Whenever I go into something, nothing's ever a replacement for me. And that's one thing with movies and stuff, right? I always think, like, the Marvel movies are a great example of this. So Marvel makes their movies based on, well, this Iron Man just had Iron Man at the beginning, right? But now he's part of the Avengers, and the more Avengers you could get in the movie, the better the movie's going to be, right? Like, the Spider-Man just came out. Not that the new Spider-Man's bad. The new Spider-Man is a great movie. And I love all the Marvel stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean just by throwing everything in that everybody knows or loves, all the new things, the new better get all these new characters in, or better bring back all these old characters. The more of everything is always going to be better. I don't take that approach to too many things. I would much rather play a older game that is perfect than a newer game that has better components and newer wording and better mechanics in it, but it's not perfect, right? Like, it's got flaw. I would rather play the old perfect game, right? Just like with all the tabletop games, right? that I showed off all the different versions. If I found someone who wanted to play AD&D, I wouldn't tell them, no, we play 5th because it's new. I would gladly play AD&D. I would gladly play 3.5, right? I would gladly play Old World of Darkness or New World of Darkness. I would gladly play Pathfinder. It doesn't mean I'm replacing anything, right? I don't like that the notion of replacement. So, like I said, when you if this would help, and when I do reviews going forward, or when I make a suggestion on something, or when I give my opinion on things, I always like to add context, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to make this video. And now that you've seen all these things, and I've talked about what types of things I really enjoy from all the games I could think about before I sat down to record this, I wanted to think about what mechanics and what draws me to a game, whether it be a video game, whether it be a tabletop RPG, whether it be a board game. And those are a collectible card game like Magic, right? When I played Magic, I loved the drafting. When I played drafting, the new way wasn't a thing. I've done the new drafts where you get like... When I played, you got a starter box and like 3 packs. And then you had to build your deck from that. Now I know, or there's sealed deck tournaments is what they were called. Sealed deck tournaments. Those were great. I love sealed deck tournaments. Those are old school. Those cost tons of... The amount of money that you'd probably think that those old sealed deck tournaments, like that, like we would buy like Ice Age or 4th edition starters or Revised. I don't even remember what they were called, right? Wasn't it like Alpha, Beta, Revised, Unlimited? Those 4th edition Unlimited. Yeah, we don't buy the Unlimited starter packs, starter decks. But anyway, so all those things, right? Hopefully. I always just wanted to give context to this, right? And also, it just helps. Making a video like this is so rare, where someone just sits down and talks rather about what it is that they enjoy from any game, regardless of if they're getting paid to review it, if it's a new game, if it's meant to replace something. So, just open bias aside, right? It's just, I like these mechanics for things. I like this thing about a video game, or I look for these things because these are the types of things that really attract me to it. Also, like with, so I've written Curse, right? Curse is totally different from anything you'd expect from D&D, or not D&D. Curse is totally different from anything you'd expect from Kingdom of Death, right? But it's not something you'd find different from D&D. And I play a lot of D&D, and I enjoy choice or just ridiculous option, right? I like having the option. That's probably why Curse is like 40 or 50 pages, because plethora of options just to choose, just to sit down and just say, yeah, I'm going to do this. Who cares if it doesn't work? I'm going to have fun trying it out, right? So Curse is much a thing of why it turned out to be what it is, right? I'm sure a lot of people are like, why wouldn't you, if you're gonna make homebrew for Kingdom of Death or something, why would you make a quarry? Why would you make a nemesis? It's about hunting monsters. Why would you do that? Well, it's because it's not me. That's why I didn't do it. And hopefully this added context adds to, or just helps you explore what it is that you would get from me when you watch one of my videos in the future. And I'm hoping to reference this video for a while, right? When I review something, I'll always say, why don't you go watch that video that I made where I talk about what it is I look for in games, what it is that draws me to a game. And if this game doesn't have these things, it doesn't mean I don't like it. It just means I might not enjoy it as much as you do because you're looking for something like that, right? And that's just not what I look for. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean it's simplistic or anything like that. So, let's go back. So, did you think that Gloomhaven, that one right there, is my favorite of all these other shelves? We've got, so these are narrative-driven games right here. Kind of, these are hidden, these are narrative games with the hidden traitor mechanics, right? So you've got Dead of Winter, I've got the 2 Dead of Winters, you got Eldritch Horror here and Shadows of Camelot, right? It's very narrative games with secret, hidden traitor, deception. So did you think it was this shelf? I would rather play this shelf over all these other ones, over Gloomhaven. Here we've got Townsfolk Tussle, Zombicide, Arcadia Quest. Did you think that This shelf is my favorite shelf because it's got a boss battler. It's got tons and tons of miniatures. It's got some fantasy elements like from D&D, and it's all tactical combat. Did you think that this shelf? I would rather play any game on this shelf than any other one. Here we've got Scythe, Blood Rage, Root, Munchkin. So these games right here are mostly area control game. Munchkin is just tossed up there. But area control games, right? There's a lot of options in area control game. This one's got card drafting. This one's got worker placement. This one's got asymmetrical powers where everybody's different. And there's tons and tons of variety and tons of options. We've got, we'll go here. We've got Caverna, Viticulture, Le Havre, or Puerto Rico. These are just straight worker placement games with tight mechanics. Not so much with Caverna. Caverna's got a little bit more loose mechanics, but these are a lot of just the kind of do whatever you want kind of games. And, you know, where choices matter. But you also have just a lot of freedom. You can just fail in these games and still have fun. So then we've got drafting games. I do love drafting. Dominion probably would be on here, but it's right here. I keep it in one of those art boxes that I've shown. Also Thunderstone's on top of it. If you haven't seen that art stone, that's why the Dominion and Thunderstone aren't here. But I do love drafting games. So you got Marvel Legendary here. Seven Wonders. This is Wingspan. Not so much a drafting game, but this is like a tableau building game. Quacks. This is bag building game. Deck builders. Deck builders, draftings. So, which one did you think, perhaps? And if maybe this just didn't work. Maybe all the stuff I just talked about, maybe you still don't know which one of these games I enjoy the most. Or which type of things I would do. Or maybe it did. But, anyway, it's a shelf. If I ever had the option, I would always rather play Puerto Rico specifically. I love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's a very tight game where we're planning ahead. It's much like I said with trick taking, right? You want to count your actions. It's very, very, very mechanical. Caverna is also, you just have it. It's a huge tableau. It's a massive sandbox game where you can just go and do whatever it is you want, and you might fail and do it, but it still might be fun. Viticulture's an amazing game. Viticulture's again another worker placement game, plethora of options. With Tuscany. I know this is the original Viticulture game, but I do own Tuscany. It's somewhere around here. The massive expansion. I throw all the modules in. Of course I do. I love choice. I love sandboxness. It's why I prefer People to Lantern. Even though I know People to Lantern gets a lot of... It's very sandbox, right? There's not much to it, but I enjoy People to Lantern. You can make it whatever it is. It's your own thing. That's why I enjoy People to Lantern. Le Havre, much the same. You just go build buildings. You take the high percentage, or you push your luck passing a dock or passing things going to a different dock, getting the resources you might need now or wait till they build up, stuff like that, and then it's just a Caverna top to it. Now, does that mean I don't like Zombicide? No, I love Zombicide. I have every single Zombicide. I just backed the Marvel Zombicide thing as well. I love Zombicide. It just means I just would rather not. If I had an opportunity to play it, I'd rather play these games. If someone wanted to sit down, play Puerto Rico with me, all these things, I'd rather play that. Doesn't mean I don't dislike it. Obviously, I love Townsfolk Tussle, right? I'll play Townsfolk Tussle with anybody who wants to play. I'd play Zombicide with anybody who wants to play. Same thing with Arcadia Quest, right? Arcadia Quest is a little bit different. I think Townsfolk Tussle for me is replacing Arcadia Quest. I'd rather play Townsfolk Tussle over it, but I still own Arcadia Quest. Doesn't mean I don't like Scythe. Scythe's another way. All these... area control games. I do enjoy area control games. There's like other area control games like Santorini and stuff. Like that's a very weird area control game, but it still is area control. Hidden trader mechanics. I find these work best with certain people, but I do love narrative driven like Eldritch Horror. Robinson Crusoe is here too. I do love Robinson Crusoe, Tales of Arabian Nights, Betrayal House on the Hill, First Martians. All these I do love narrative driven games. It's just that I would much rather play these. Now back to Gloomhaven, right? Gloomhaven, you'd probably think, oh, Gloomhaven's exactly like Kingdom Death. Why? How do you not like Gloomhaven? I didn't say I don't like Gloomhaven. I enjoy Gloomhaven. It's just a lot. Gloomhaven's a lot. Not that Kingdom Death isn't a lot. And not that all the Caverna and Puerto Rico, those are a lot too. I don't know what it is. Gloomhaven, I don't know. I think I'd rather play with someone than play by myself when it comes to Gloomhaven. Now... like I said, the idea of things getting replaced and all those things, I don't like doing it, but, you know, you're probably, maybe you could think of a game that isn't here and you'd be like, oh man, you'd actually love that game. Yeah, I've got like other Ryan Lockett games over here too, like Near and Far and stuff. There's some games I just don't have time to play. For example, see, I do own these games. This isn't even open. I do own Mithra. I just haven't gotten a chance to play it. I do own the new Hero Quest. I just haven't gotten a chance to play it. I'd much prefer playing with someone else who's going to let me just enjoy and sit back. Someone else DM or I'll DM for them, but someone who just sits back and you just have fun, right? Those games, I just haven't gotten a chance to get to the table. Maybe they should have been on here. Maybe I've been like, oh, this is the best game ever. Or like Sleeping Gods, right? I haven't had a chance to open this. Still sealed. Haven't had a chance to play it. I do really want to play it. So it's those ideas of things going forward, right? Maybe those games will be amazing. I bet they probably all are. And I bet I'll probably enjoy them thoroughly. Maybe they would. But just because something is new and all that, it doesn't mean that it's better than old things. And just because something's old and nostalgic doesn't mean it's better than new things, right? I would much rather play Townsfolk Tussle, even though I own everything of Arcadia Quest. See, it's right behind me. There's every single Arcadia Quest thing. But I'd still rather play this, even if it's new, right? So nostalgia, it's all just, I guess, what it is you have time for. And of course, Star Trek: The Next Generation interactive VCR board game, A Klingon Challenge. That game is amazing. Everyone should play that. Well, thank you so much for watching. Turned out to be pretty long, but again, like I said, context is my biggest thrive. It's the thing I always strive to do, right? To give as much context into something as I can to help anybody who's looking for a opinion to make sure that they get the most information I could possibly give them. Because I would hate to suggest something that costs tons and tons of money. Like Mithra costs tons of money. Townsfolk Tussle costs money. And all these things, I would hate for someone to just be like, look, he plays Kingdom of Death, I'm going to back it because he says it's good. Now you can use this as a frame of reference. So I'm glad I was able to just make something for context for everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully maybe you guessed the correct shelf right from the start. Good on you. Just because you guessed when he's on a shelf doesn't mean you're wrong. Obviously I own all these games. Obviously I love them all. So it's just that hopefully the experiment worked. And after hearing me talk, you could pick this one out and be like, yeah, I bet he probably likes mechanic type driven sandbox games where he can play around and do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter if he fails. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.